Let me be really honest with you. Sometimes when a woman goes quiet, it's not because she's waiting around heartbroken. It's because she's playing the same game you are. And she might even be better at it. That's the part men don't usually hear. You think no contact is going to make her miss you, panic, chase you. But what if she's doing no contact too, and not emotionally falling apart like you hoped? She's doing it in full control, calm, focused, confident, strategic, just like you. Now here's the truth. Most men don't realize. Women can be incredibly disciplined when it comes to emotional distance, especially when we've felt too much. We don't always need closure the way men think. Sometimes silence is the closure. And when a woman pulls back, when she matches your distance, it doesn't always mean she's hurting. Sometimes it means she's calculating, watching, testing, healing, or worse, replacing. I want to talk to you as a woman who's been there, not just the one pulling away, but also the one watching a man try to out-silence me. And trust me, I didn't lose. I adapted. I learned to win that game without ever saying a word. And I know other women who've done the same. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the truth. What it actually means when a woman mirrors your no contact. What you should do instead of just sitting there thinking time alone will fix everything. And how to shift the power back. Not by chasing, not by begging, but by moving in a way that actually triggers her emotion, attention, and reflection. If you're serious about getting clarity, or even a chance to reconnect, you need to know how this really works on our side. Let's get into it. 1. When silence isn't weakness, it's control. Let me say this loud and clear. When a woman goes silent, don't assume she's sitting around crying over you. A lot of men confuse a woman's quiet with vulnerability, but many times it's not weakness, it's control. Her silence can be her power move. I want you to picture this. A woman who was emotionally available, giving, expressive, suddenly stops. She stops texting. She doesn't respond with the same warmth. She's not chasing after your attention like she used to. You think she's breaking down inside, but really? She's cooling off. She's resetting. She's claiming space and watching what you'll do. We women know the effect silence has on a man. If we've been emotionally invested and you suddenly pull back or do no contact, it hurts. But here's the thing. That hurt becomes fuel. We learn quickly not to beg, not to plead, not to chase. So what do we do instead? We mirror you. Not because we're trying to win a petty game, but because we've realized something important. Silence speaks louder than our words ever could. And here's the part men don't expect. We start to find peace in that silence. The first few days, it's emotional. But then, we begin to reflect. We get clarity. And if during that time, you're just sitting there assuming she'll crack first, you're already losing her. That silence gives us control back. We stop needing answers. We stop waiting, and we start rebuilding our own sense of self. That's when the danger sets in for you, because now you're no longer her emotional center. She's becoming her own, and that's the shift men usually don't see coming. You think you're in control by not reaching out, but she's gaining real emotional strength in that distance. She's remembering what life was like before you. She's getting her power back. So if you're in no contact, and she's matching it, understand this. It's not weakness. It's a sign that you've lost the upper hand emotionally. And if you don't do something with real intention soon, her silence may become permanent. When a woman uses silence with strength, she's not trying to get your attention. She's already giving it to herself. And when that happens, she doesn't need closure from you. She doesn't even need to be right. She just moves on. So don't misread the quiet. It might look passive, but it's one of the most active choices she's making. And if you keep assuming she's the one breaking while you're winning the no contact game, you'll wake up one day and realize she was never stuck. You were. 2. Why matching distance is a test and you're failing it. Let's clear something up right now. When a woman matches your distance, it's not because she's giving up. It's because she's watching. She's testing. And most men fail this test without even realizing they're being tested. Here's what I mean. If things were going well and suddenly you decided to pull back, maybe to gain control, maybe because you got too comfortable, or maybe because you thought it would make her chase, don't be surprised when she mirrors you. That's not her submitting to your strategy. That's her observing. It's her way of asking, is this man emotionally secure, or is he playing games? Because the truth is, we feel the shift. We notice the tone of your messages change. We see when you delay your replies or when the affection drops off. And instead of begging for your attention, a woman who knows her worth will just match your energy and give you the space you seem to want. But here's where most men misunderstand what's happening. They think, oh good, she's doing the same thing I'm doing, so we're both in control. Number. She's not trying to be in control. She's trying to see if you're worth her effort anymore. Matching distance is a filter. It separates the men who are emotionally mature from the ones who rely on tactics to manipulate connection. And if you just keep pulling back without ever stepping up, you're showing her you don't have the emotional capacity to lead in a real relationship. You're showing her that she can't rely on you. That when things get quiet or confusing, you'll just disappear instead of communicating. That's what kills attraction more than anything. Not the silence, but the emotional laziness. The unwillingness to take responsibility for your own actions. The fear of vulnerability. You might think you're keeping your frame, but what you're really doing is showing her that you're afraid to lead with clarity and intention. A woman who matches your distance is not trying to win. She's giving you a chance to show whether or not you'll step up and break the cycle. Will you call it out and say, hey, I noticed we haven't been talking much. Let's reset. Or will you just let it fade and assume the silence means nothing? If you think playing it cool is always the answer, think again. Real emotional strength isn't about who can hold out the longest. It's about who can stay grounded enough to address the discomfort head-on, without fear, without ego, and without waiting to see who cracks first. So next time a woman mirrors your distance, don't pat yourself on the back. Ask yourself instead, am I leading here or hiding? Because if you're just matching her silence without intention, you're not passing the test. You're proving her right. 3. When she goes cold. What she's actually feeling. Inside. When a woman goes cold on you, it can feel like a slap in the face, like she's suddenly heartless or detached, like she never cared. But let me tell you something most men never hear. When a woman goes cold, it's usually because she cared too much, and she didn't get what she needed in return. Women don't just shut off their emotions like flipping a switch. That kind of coldness is almost never the starting point. It's the result of feeling ignored, misunderstood, unappreciated, or emotionally unsafe over time. It's like a slow burn that turns into numbness. And when she gets to that numb place, she isn't just trying to punish you, she's trying to protect herself. You have to understand how different the emotional world is for women. We process feelings through connection. We read into tone, energy, silence. When you go quiet, even if it's unintentional, we start to wonder, did I do something wrong? Has he lost interest? Is he just using me for convenience? And if those questions go unanswered long enough, we start to emotionally withdraw to avoid being hurt. That's when the coldness shows up. Not because she's being manipulative, not because she's trying to make you chase her, but because the warmth she was offering felt wasted, like it was being poured into someone who didn't really see it or value it. And here's what makes it even more confusing for men. She might still answer your texts. She might still be nice, but the tone has changed. The softness is gone. The emotional sparkle that used to come through in her words or her voice, it's dimmed, sometimes permanently. What's happening underneath the surface is emotional fatigue. She's tired of trying to guess how you feel. She's tired of trying to lead the emotional connection, because you won't. And she's probably wondering, if he really wanted this, wouldn't he show me instead of making me question everything? That's the part a lot of men miss. We don't need big romantic gestures. We don't need you to pour your heart out. What we do need is emotional clarity, presence, consistency. We need to feel like we're not the only ones investing energy into something that's supposed to be mutual. When a woman goes cold, it's not always the end. But it is a sign. It means you've hit a point where your lack of effort, your emotional unavailability, or your passive approach has caught up to you, and now you're on borrowed time. The worst thing you can do in that moment is act like nothing happened. The second worst, try to fix it with quick gestures when what she really needed was steady emotional presence all along. If you want to warm her up again, don't try to charm her. Show up with clarity. Show her that you finally get it. Not with words, but with changed behavior. Because once a woman goes emotionally cold, she's no longer hoping you'll make the effort. She's watching to see if you even can. 4. Why silence doesn't mean she's done yet. Let me clear up one of the biggest misunderstandings men have about women. Silence doesn't always mean we're done. I know from your side when we stop texting, stop calling, stop showing up the way we used to. It feels like we've moved on. It feels final. But that's not always the truth. A woman's silence can be two very different things. Sometimes it's the end, but sometimes it's just space. Space to feel, to process, to step back from the noise and figure out what she actually wants. And during that space, she's not waiting on a grand apology or a dramatic gesture. She's watching, quietly, privately, to see what you do without her voice in your ear. Because here's what a lot of men don't realize. When a woman pulls back, she's not always gone emotionally. She's just tired of chasing clarity. She's tired of having to explain herself. She's tired of asking, "Where is this going?" Or, "Why do I feel like I'm doing all the work?" Her silence is her way of taking the pressure off herself and putting it on you. She wants to see if the connection meant anything to you beyond comfort and convenience. She wants to know if you feel her absence, or if she was just another option. And the only way to know that is to step back, stay silent, and see what rises to the surface on your end. Now, that doesn't mean she's playing games. This isn't manipulation, it's self-protection. When a woman goes silent, it's usually because she's been loud in every other way. Emotionally loud, verbally loud, energetically loud. She's probably dropped hints, asked for reassurance, tried to connect, and nothing really changed. So now she's quiet. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's waiting to see if you do. This is where most men fail. They think her silence means it's over, so they double down on pride. They stay quiet too. They do the, "if she's not texting me, I won't text her" thing. And without even realizing it, they confirm her worst fear, that the connection was one-sided all along. Here's what you need to understand. Feminine silence isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's an invitation. An invitation to step into leadership, to show emotional strength, to prove that you see her without being told what to do every step of the way. And the truth is, a lot of women won't come back unless you pass that test. Not because they want to make you jump through hoops, but because they want to feel emotionally safe. 5. How emotional control turns the power dynamic around. Let's talk about something that most men overlook, but it's one of the most attractive and powerful things you can do during no contact: emotional control. Not suppressing your feelings, not pretending to be cold or unaffected, but choosing how you respond instead of reacting from panic or ego. Because here's the truth. When a woman feels like she has complete emotional power over you, that's when attraction starts to fade. She might not even realize it at first, but the moment she senses that your world falls apart just because she's not texting you back, the dynamic shifts. She stops feeling drawn to you and starts feeling responsible for you. And once that happens, desire dies. So if you're wondering what to do while she's doing no contact too, this is it. Get your emotional control back. Not for her approval, not to win her back, but because you're a man who values his center more than her reaction. That doesn't mean you act like nothing happened. It doesn't mean you fake detachment. It means you sit with your feelings without letting them make your decisions for you. You don't chase, you don't spiral, you don't create fake accounts to watch her stories or send her guilt texts. You get quiet and composed. And trust me, she notices. Because a woman who's doing no contact isn't just thinking about you. She's testing what kind of man you really are without her influence. She wants to know, does he become needy? Does he break down? Does he act out? Or does he take this silence like a grown man with calm, clarity, and strength? That shift in energy changes everything. There's this moment that happens in a woman's mind. It's subtle, but real. She thinks, he's not chasing me. He's not blowing up my phone. He's not even reacting. Did he detach? That moment flips the emotional power dynamic, because now she's wondering what you're thinking. And that's when curiosity creeps in. That's when the urge to reconnect starts. Not because you manipulated her, but because you showed you don't need her to regulate your emotional state. Here's the kicker. Emotional control doesn't just help in no contact. It's what separates high-value men in every relationship situation. It means you know how to respond with purpose, not emotion. You don't fold under pressure. You don't lash out or beg. You lead, even when things are unclear. And leadership isn't about dominance. It's about presence. 6. Why doing less can get you way more. Here's something most men don't realize until it's too late. When it comes to re-attracting a woman during no contact, less is more. And I know, that probably goes against every instinct you have. Because your mind is telling you, if I don't reach out, she'll forget me. Or, if I don't show her I care, she'll move on. But from a woman's perspective, that desperate energy doesn't pull her closer. It pushes her away. Let me say it plainly. A man who does too much when she's silent ends up looking like he doesn't value himself. And trust me, women pick up on that energy fast. When you over-text, over-apologize, over-explain, what you're really doing is putting her on a pedestal and putting yourself on your knees. That doesn't inspire love. That inspires distance. Now, when I say do less, I don't mean disappear completely. I mean be intentional. Don't take action just to soothe your own anxiety. Don't make moves out of fear. Wait. Let the silence do some of the heavy lifting for you. If there's ever a time to let your absence speak louder than your words, it's now. Here's the secret. Women notice the shift when a man stops reaching out. They feel the silence. And if there was any part of her still emotionally connected to you, that quiet will get loud in her mind. She'll start to wonder why you haven't checked in. She'll start replaying things in her head. And suddenly, you're the one taking up emotional space. And here's the wild part. When a woman is genuinely unsure about how she feels, your inaction actually creates more clarity for her than any conversation could. Why? Because it lets her sit with her own feelings, without you trying to steer them. That's when she starts questioning her choice. That's when the pull begins. Men who do less, who stay centered, who don't chase, end up looking powerful. Not because they're playing games, but because they're not controlled by emotion. And that makes a woman rethink everything. Because emotional discipline in a man is rare. And when she sees you've got it, that's when curiosity turns into attraction again. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what if I lose her by doing nothing? Let me flip that. If your silence makes her move on, then she was already gone. You didn't lose her. You just stopped delaying the truth. But if she is still emotionally tied to you, your silence has the power to pull her in more than any words could. So instead of panicking, instead of filling the space with noise, own the space. Let her come to you. Let your lack of action create the pressure. Let her wonder if you're even still available. Because in that space, she either chooses to reconnect or reveals that she was never truly invested. Either way, you win. 7. It's not about winning her back. It's about respecting yourself. First, let me give you a bit of a reality check, and I say this with love, but also with complete honesty. If your only goal during no contact is to win her back, you're already approaching this from the wrong mindset, because chasing her isn't strength. Obsessing over her next move isn't clarity. Waiting around hoping she'll finally realize your worth? That's not power. That's passivity disguised as patience. Here's what you need to understand. Women can sense when a man is rooted in himself, and when he's orbiting around her. And when you're doing everything with the intention of getting a reaction out of her, it's not about love. It's about insecurity. That's not attractive. It's exhausting. For her. And for you. You've got to flip the focus. No contact isn't a trick to manipulate her emotions. It's a mirror. It's showing you exactly where your self-respect is, or isn't. Because if you're sitting around all day checking her last scene, reading old messages, or spiraling over whether she's thinking about you, ask yourself something real. What are you actually doing to become the kind of man she would regret losing? This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about actually becoming someone who doesn't need validation from her to feel valuable. Look, I get it. You miss her. You want her to reach out. You want to fix things. But you can't build anything real with a woman when you're not even solid in yourself. You can't show up with strength when you're still depending on her attention to feel whole. That's why this phase, this silence, isn't just a waiting period. It's your training ground. What are you doing with it? Are you hitting the gym to rebuild your energy and drive? Are you reconnecting with your purpose, your mission, your circle of influence? Are you investing in yourself emotionally, mentally, financially? Because that is what creates magnetic energy. That is what women feel, even through silence. And it's also what makes you feel powerful again, even if she never returns. And if she does come back, and yes, women often do when they feel that shift, don't lose your grounding. Because this is not about trying to be good enough for her. It's about becoming a man who is deeply aligned with himself, with or without her. So let me say this as clearly as I can. If you don't respect yourself first, no woman ever will. This isn't about getting her back. It's about getting you back. And once you do that, trust me, you'll stop chasing anyone. She's not the prize. You are. Let me leave you with this. And it might sting a little, but it's the truth. If you're sitting around hoping she'll come back, still checking your phone, still replaying conversations in your head, then you've forgotten who the real prize is. It's not her, it's you. A woman respects a man who respects himself. A woman feels drawn to a man who doesn't chase her, because he's too busy building something that she'd be lucky to be part of. The moment you stop making her the center of your world, that's when the shift happens. That's when she starts to feel it. the emotional power you've reclaimed. You're not doing no contact to get her attention. You're doing it because you know your time, your energy, and your peace are not things you give away cheaply. So if she's also doing no contact, good. Let her. Let the silence speak for both of you. Let it be the space where you rise, not wait. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the hardest part about being in no contact right now? I'm reading them, and I'll be replying too, because I'm not just here to talk at you. I'm here to help you understand women better and become the strongest, most grounded version of yourself in the process. You've got this.